Welcome to our 12th class. This is also the day you're seeing this, the very first day of spring, which is very exciting to me. I am very into the seasons and how it relates to our energy and how we can show up in the world and how to work with the seasons to better our own individual lives. So this class will be shorter and fun, finally a shorter class where we are working up towards crow pose. So it'll be a little bit fun. We're going to do our first arm balance together and just a short, sweet flow to warm up, get a little bit of a stretch in, some strength, and then we're going to work on our crow pose together. And then next week will be a full, just nice springtime flow where we incorporate everything we've learned in the last 12 weeks, including today. So I hope you can join for that as well. My name is Melissa, so thank you for being here with me, and let's get started. Coming to the front of your mat, feet hip width apart to start. Spread your toes wide, and let's just take a moment to ground down. Feel the mat, feel the floor, the carpet, the ground, whatever is below you. Soften your knees a little, so just not locked joints, locked muscles. Relax. Feel your feet on the ground. Take a full breath in through your nose. And then open up your mouth, make a nice sigh, something to relax. Let you drop a little bit deeper into your feet. And really paying attention. How do your toes feel? How do the balls of your foot feel? Are you pressing into your heels at all? Can you make it even between all four corners? Just feel. Slight bend in the knees. And then drawing the belly button ever so slightly towards the spine so we start to engage the core a little. Lift up as if there's that string on your chest. Lift the chest up, crown of your head up. And then shoulders, just kind of relax down your back. Don't worry too much about them. You can even roll them around, shake them out however feels good. And breathe. And see where your palms naturally fall. If they're facing backwards, maybe we're a little bit more rounded. And then maybe if they're already facing forward or too much, can you just notice wherever you are and then try to find a happy medium with your ears over your shoulders, over your hips, likely over your ankles. 2 more breaths. Take a moment to set an intention, whatever brought you here to this particular class. So my intention is that we will have fun, build some strength, and work towards our crow pose. Getting your intention in your mind, take one more really deep breath in through the nose. Keep your mouth closed this time as you exhale. Try to tap into that Ujjayi breath through the throat, drawing the belly button towards your spine. So it's almost like we're sealing that intention in. And then inhale, reach up towards the sky. When you need to breathe out, forward fold, fingertips towards the floor. Bend your knees as much as you need to make that happen. Relax through the back of the neck. Take a deep breath in, lengthen out through the spine. Keep that length, plant your palms high, push up and hold for the first one. Notice how it feels in your wrists, your shoulders, your core. Fire up through the legs. Relax around the jaw. Take a deep breath in. On your exhale, shift just to downward dog while we start to warm up around the legs, the shoulders. Shift your body around however feels good, including if you'd prefer to do this on your knees. Totally acceptable, especially to get a little bit of that side-side movement in the wrists. Fingers spread wide wherever your hands are placed. Breathe, moving how feels best for 3 more breaths. And then noticing where your thoughts go, if it's still on your body. If not, just bring it back to awareness of whatever you do feel. Heels start to relax towards the floor. If you're in tabletop, coming up to downward dog. Use an inhale to lift the heels. Squeeze the leg muscles round forward to your high push-up. Feel how it feels in the wrists, If it's too much, maybe drop your knees, take a little bit more side to side, warm up on the wrists. You can even pause this and come back when you're ready. Otherwise, exhale, pull forward, lower down no more than halfway. Upward facing dog, take a full breath in. Breathe out, downward dog. Knees up, butt back. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Look forward. Take a large step. Feet up to meet your hands. Halfway lift. On the exhale, fold right back down. Feel that stretch through the entire back side of your body. Inhale, reach your arms all the way up to standing. Exhale, hands through heart center. Breathe. One more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. One more sun salutation, I should say. Relax through the back of the neck. Feel that stretch. Even spread your toes and feel if that stretches any deeper through your legs. Halfway lift when you're ready. Inhale. On the exhale, plant the palms. Hold for a deep breath in. Find that strength and power through the legs, the core. Heart pulls forward. Allow that pulling motion in your heart to shift you forward, lower down no more than halfway. Upward facing dog. Deep breath in as you stretch and strengthen. Exhale, downward dog. Butt up and back. The left foot stays where it is. Use your inhale to stretch your right toes high. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hip. Feel what you feel. Breathe. Inhale, lift the left heel. Exhale, right knee to the nose. Plant the foot down. Lower the back knee flat. Lower the back knee to the floor and pause as you draw your heart forward. So if you have your blocks, you don't need them. So don't worry if you don't have them, it's no problem. But if you have your blocks, you can even bring your hands up on blocks so that we can really get that lift in the chest while still sinking that left hip down and a little bit forward. Take one more really deep breath in here. Deep breath out where you are. Inhale. Exhale, plant the palms, tuck the back toe, lift the back leg, round through the upper spine, and imagine that you could just hover this right foot up off the ground. What would that feel like? And then slow motion wiggle, step it back, downward dog. So even if it doesn't hover, we'll work more on drills like that later on, but even if it doesn't hover, imagining what would it feel like if? And just those questions can let your body start to figure out, how would I do this movement on my own? What muscles would activate? What would work for my body? Which is where a lot of that intuitive movement comes from, which is kind of fun. So right heel down, left heel starts to lift up. Exhale, bend the knee, open up your hip. Pause and feel and breathe. On an exhale, carry your knee toward your nose. Plant your foot between your hands. Lower the back knee to the floor. And then soften the right hip down and forward. So this right hip bone is sinking down and a little bit forward. So we're on our hands. Unless you feel super bendy, you can always come all the way up. But if you feel yourself tense up for this stretch, it'd be a little bit better to have some of that support in your hands or on blocks so that you can soften without overstretching. And then 2 more breaths. One more really deep breath in. Deep breath out. Inhale where you are, lift up through the heart. Straightening the energy line, lifting on the exhale, hands around the front foot. Lift the back knee up, round through the spine. And again, what would it feel like if I could hover that left foot up? And whether it hovers or lifts or not, you can wiggle it back or step it back. But just that question can help your body start to think outside the box of what the normal movements are for you. Take a full deep breath in. Deep breath out. On your inhale, stretch your right toes high. Exhale, bend the knee, open up the hips, same thing we did before. Inhale, re-straighten the right leg. See if you can square it off, so drawing the right toes towards the floor. Whoop, we drop that hip down. Look forward, step your right foot towards your hands. Now lower the back foot flat. Actually, let's turn all toes in towards the left, I suppose now, towards the edge of your mat, and then walk your hands straight out in front. Hopefully I'm still on camera. I don't really know. Take a really deep breath in where you are. Exhale, fold right back down. So it's like a wide-legged forward fold. Breathe in, halfway lift once more. Pull the heart forward, and you can even be up on blocks if you need to reach the ground. Exhale, fold right back down, relaxing through the back of the neck. Don't worry about hand placement for now. We're already going to switch out of it. Turn your right toes back towards the front. Bend through both knees. Come on up, warrior two, just for a moment. Perfect. So we're bending into that front knee, strengthening up and straightening that back leg. Reach your arm towards the front and back. Already. Shift towards triangle. We inhale, straighten that leg. Exhale, pull the right arm forward. Right hand drops down. Left arm up to the sky. So you notice we do similar poses over and over again, but these ones are such amazing foundational ones for our flexibility, for our strength, so that when we start to build the more creative postures, our body is really, really set up to handle them well. So these are such great fundamental poses. Take one more really deep breath in. Deep breath out. Bend to the right knee. We're actually going to end a new Wednesday, which will be really fun. Turn the right toes in. So now we're in that stance we were in for our forward fold. So this time we're just turning our back toes to the back. Bend into your warrior two. Pause. Feel that grounding in your feet. Can you feel all 10 toes spread? Grip the mat. Maybe even hug your feet towards one another. Keep that contraction. Inhale, straighten the front leg. On your exhale, pull your left arm far forward over the front leg. Lower down, triangle. And then our inhale stretches open the right shoulder. Reach the right fingertips up towards the sky. Breathe. And feel, even can you feel that stretch? If you participated last week, we talked a lot about, I think it was last week or the week before, rotating that right hip bone open so we could feel that lower back stretch. So even here, can we rotate that right hip open so that we feel that stretch along the right low back? Feels good. 2 more breaths where you are. Just feel and breathe. And if you don't feel the low back, don't worry about it. Just draw the belly button in. Notice what you do feel and know that that is enough. Bend into the front, or I guess your back knee now, your left knee, wherever your left knee is, bend into it. Come on up. Good. Now turn all your toes back in. Hands to your hip. Take a moment here. I'm just going to back up to make sure that I stay in the camera angle. You can stay where you are. So our toes, you'll notice they're not turned out anymore. They're either parallel with the sides of your mat or turned a little bit in. The legs are pretty straight. Heart lifts straight up. Take a deep breath in. Hands are on your waist. On your exhale, see if you can squeeze your shoulder blades towards one another so that your elbows are drawing together. Good. From there, lift the heart even more. Start to stick your butt bones out to the back and fold forward. You can keep your hands on your waists, or if you need more support, I think for right now, I need a little more support. And by support, I mean my hamstrings are pretty tight, so it's starting to pull a little bit too much. So I'm going to bring my hands to the ground for support. Keep that halfway lift as much as I can every breath in, and then allowing the exhales to soften and fold down a little bit more. Eventually, using a little bit of weight in my hands for support, but allowing the back of my neck to relax down. And then instead of just kind of like hanging out and ignoring whatever's going on, we come back to that pattern of, can we find a little bit of length in the breath in? And can we use that exhale to pull the chest as if it's going straight to the floor to fold in a little bit deeper? Breathe. Draw the belly button a little bit towards the spine. So on those halfway lifts where we breathe in, The belly is active, so we're really strong from the core and then softening the upper body down on the breath out. Even if your hands are on your hips, often I do this one like this. You're still going for the same motion. Breath in finds that half lift. Breath out softens. Finish your next exhale. Slow motion. Come on up. You can put a little bend in your knees to come on up. Amazing. Good. Look forward. Step back up to the front. Take a full breath in. Reach up through the arms. On your exhale, fingertips to the floor. Forward fold. Again. Take your feet hip width or a little bit wider. This time, turn your toes out to the side. And slow motion, come down into a squat, keeping your heels on the ground if you can. But if your heels pop up, that's absolutely no problem. In fact, if you want to be near a door handle or something to hold on to, if you feel like you're going to roll backwards, you can always grab on. I don't recommend a dresser unless it's bolted into the wall, or even a door handle. You can get a towel or something, or if you have a jump rope or whatever to hang on to help hold you up. And what this will do is work on your flexibility and that back strength. The longer that we're here, we'll feel it in our back without having you just, I don't want to use the word topple over, whatever you call it, fall backwards. So whatever you need to hang on to in the beginning is totally okay. If you aren't hanging on to anything, we're just going to work on getting our knees wide, eventually allowing our heels to relax down. And the more we come, every single downward dog, this is going to work on that flexion, that flexibility in our ankles to be able to shift forward. Hands together, elbows wide. I think we've done the squat in one of the last few classes every time. So we're working up to that crow pose. So remember the upper arm pad is going to push onto that fleshy part of your leg. And just breathe. 2 breaths. Take a really deep breath in. Deep breath out. Hands down. Press right back up. Forward fold. Find your halfway lift. Keep that length. Plant the palms high, push up. Or if you want to shift to downward dog, shift to downward dog. If you are in high push-up, spread the fingers wide. Draw the heart forward. Feel your abdominals kick in as you shift forward. Lower down no more than halfway. Knees can lower whenever you need to. Upward facing dog. The heart goes forward. Feel that contraction in the mid-back. Use your exhale to find downward dog. Perfect. Inhale, lift the heels. Lower the knees. Untuck the toes. Have a seat on your heels and just rest for a moment. Palms face up to get that subtle stretch. Full breath in and out to reset. Take note of however your thoughts are and inviting your awareness to kind of drop down into the heart. And so if you haven't done the meditations with me or you haven't practiced a lot of meditation, that might be a weird phrase. It used to be a weird phrase to me. That's the only reason I said that. But see if you have a lot of thinking going on, which is really common, can we just bring our awareness? I just imagine a little me in there, just getting in an elevator and just dropping into the heart. However you want to picture it, or what would it be like if I could drop more into the heart center and out of my head? And that may even be just bringing your awareness to, how does my chest feel? How is my breathing in that area? What sensations do I feel? Can I lift up through the heart? Does that automatically lift my posture and make it a little bit easier to be up straight? Can I relax my jaw more? can I just be present? 2 breaths. Okay, so week 12. 12 whole weeks of yoga. Even if you haven't made it to every class, still amazing what you have done. So we've got our warm up in, and now we're going to focus on getting into our first arm balance. I want to give a disclaimer. I like the disclaimers. Of course, you never have to do anything that your body doesn't want to do. Take a break when you need it. So I know that crow pose is popular, and I know that arm balances are so fun. They can be so fun, so I want to teach it because it's so fun. With that said, I started doing arm balances way before I should have. So if you feel anything going on in your wrist, I really encourage you to not go into the full arm balance and just stay with your feet on the ground. And what that'll do is it'll start to build up strength in the wrist so that when you are ready, and you'll know when you're ready because it won't be painful, you can go into the arm balance, but without any risk of injury in the wrist. So a lot of times it is very weight bearing, and if we're not used to being in our hands, we can feel some pain. So if you feel pain, don't do it. Just back off, and you can stay in the stage 1, which we'll set up together to work on the flexibility and strengthen your wrist without the tension. First thing I want to talk about, though, with our crow pose or any balance, and you can stand up and do this with me. Take your feet hip width apart, spread your toes wide. Just breathe. Now, pay attention to your feet. You don't have to do anything with your feet. Just kind of notice them, what's happening, where you're pressing down. And now shift your weight forward, almost to when you'll fall. Notice what's happening in your toes. Are they gripping? Are they gripping tighter? Are they really gripping to keep you upright? Okay? And then start to shift a little bit backwards. Notice what's happening. For me, the weight starts to go way into my heels, my toes pick up and spread, but there's not much they can do. If we're falling backwards in an arm balance, it's fine. Our feet will just hit the ground. But when we start to fall forward, our toes really grip. And when we are in a hand balance and an arm balance, I guess they should be called hand balances, really. Forearm would be an arm balance. Anyway, our fingers are very important to finding that balance. So when we start to tip forward in our feet, usually we grip and it draws us back. If we didn't grip, I don't even know what would happen. I'd just fall forward. So we really want that gripping action to come into play in our hands to keep us from falling all the way forward. So when we're going into the hand balance, crow pose, pay attention. We'll just go a little bit at a time, and your fingers should start to move around and grip different things in different ways to help you find your center point. So don't be afraid to move your fingers around and wiggle. And even in handstand, I notice a lot of times, I'm not an expert, but when I'm balancing, a lot of it is from my fingers adjusting and calibrating to keep my center weight balanced. Does this make sense? So I find once you really bring it into the fingers, the balance itself gets so much easier. So let's try. Depending on your flexibility, come down into a squat. If your heels are up, no problem. Even if you're kind of like here, that's totally fine. We're going to take our hands shoulder width apart. Our fingers spread wide so that we have a lot of surface room. Plant them down. Now press super strong through the thumb and first finger more than anything. And all your fingertips are going to grip the mat and see if you can even hug back a little bit and kind of like spider your arms. So my knuckle here is actually a little bit lifted and I'm pressing through the fingertips. So we spread wide, hug back, and then we have that lift. If they don't lift all the way up, it doesn't matter. I don't think mine did that for a long time. And I can feel it right now, building a lot of strength in my hands. So that might take a little bit of practice. But again, the whole thing is a practice, right? We just keep coming back, and it's fun to see how much we progress. All right, fingers spread wide. Now heart lifts forward. We've talked about our fingertips will grip, but the second element that comes is where is our heart shifting? Where are our eyes looking? Because more often than not, wherever we look, we're going to go. So if we have our head down and we're looking down, whoop, we might tip right over. If we have our heart lifted and our eyes forward, we will shift forward. Does this make sense? Let's practice. Stage 1, without going into the balance, this is really important just to feel. We're going to get that upper arm bone right on that fleshy portion. You may see other crow poses teach here. This is good as well. However, if you're brand new, it might bruise your arm. It took me a while and a lot of bruises before I could do that part. And then I started with here to find the balance and the strength, and it worked just fine. So if you want to go for arms or knees right in the back of your arms, you can, but it'll be a bit harder to balance and it may bruise. So that's why I like to go the fleshy part on the fleshy part. Fingers spread wide, heart forward. See how I'm up on my toes? We're just going to stay up on our toes. Squeeze the upper arm bones and the knees towards one another. So as much as my knees are pressing in, my arms are pressing right back out. Heart forward. So this is our stage 1. We breathe. We just feel. We don't worry about balancing. We draw the heart forward. We press through the fingertips, draw the core in, and we breathe. And we breathe, and we breathe, and we breathe. I looked down for a second. I could already see myself wanting to tip forward. Come on back down. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. So we felt our arms. We felt our heart pull forward. We find that length. And the next element, we're going to squeeze our legs even tighter inward. So it's like our inner thighs are trying to come in. And what this does, do you remember in a few weeks ago, we've practiced where we draw our shin bones towards one another. It's all connected to the same thing. So when we hug our legs towards one another, even in the Warrior 2 we did today, hugging our feet in, then it automatically hooks into our core. So one less thing we have to think about. Core is automatically on. Take a breath in. Open up your mouth, breathe out, reset. Fingers spread wide. Fleshy part, fleshy part. Now, up on your toes. Hands are directly underneath your shoulders. Not too wide, it'll be a bit funny. Definitely not too close because it'll be harder to balance and might pinch your shoulder a little bit funny. So where is your chaturanga? Where is your shoulder width apart? From there, you're going to squeeze those legs in, lift the heart, pull forward, come up on your toes. Stage 1, stay in here. Stage 2, look forward, pull the heart forward, maybe lift one knee or one toe up. Maybe press more into the fingertips and see how it feels. What if you could lift up the second toe? How would it feel? What would be going on? Breathe. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Practice lifting one toe at a time and come down when you're ready. Take a breath to reset. How did that go? You can tell me in the comments when we're done. So let's do that one more time, and then we'll practice a little modification for you to practice further on. So fingers spread wide. Hug the ground. Good. Now, heart forward. We're going to take our knees, hook them into the upper arm bones. Draw the heart forward. Lift the butt up a little bit higher than you did before. So now we're really getting that lift. Heart still pulls forward. Remember, if we look down, we're going to go down. Heart and head forward. Breathe. Draw the belly in and lift one toe up. Maybe lift the other toe up. Maybe bring the toes together. Breathe. Now keep squeezing your legs towards one another. You'll feel it in your core, everywhere. Keep drawing the heart forward. Feel your fingertips calibrating to help you balance. Slowly come on down. Good. Sit however you want to sit. Bring your wrists face up. Your palms face up. Take a really deep breath in. Open up your mouth, breathe out. Relax around the shoulders. Soften around the wrists. Even imagine softening around the wrists. Breathe. Good. So if you're having trouble with, it could be fear or it could be a number of things. So you can let me know in the comments whatever you are experiencing. I can give more specific feedback. But if you're having trouble getting your toes up, we can start on a block. So maybe it could be flexibility, either in your back or your hips. Although, to be honest, I'm not sure if this would help the flexibility. You might still need it. I think it would, but mostly be for fear. If you have 2 blocks, we're going to practice. And if you don't have a block for your head, one's going to be for your toes, one's for your head. You can always use a pillow, which might help cut back on fear too if your head has a soft place to land. So one right about where your head might be, one for your toes. And then prop your toes up on one block, feet together, hands shoulder width apart. And this is a really good way to practice that balance if you're still finding the balance and you don't want to fall all the way forward on your face and coming back down to the ground seems like too much work either for your core or your legs or your shoulders or whatever. So our fingers spread wide again. You might play around with the spacing for the blocks. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to press through your arms, hug your knees into your upper arm bones, pull the heart forward, and then you can just try to drop your head on the block and your toes will automatically just come up off the block, and see if you can squeeze through your core, shift the weight back to your toes. Shift forward, 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 lower your head when you need to drop your head. Come on back up. This will be good for headstand practice actually too. Tuck your head, lift up the head. Pull forward, find the balance, tuck the head, lift the head forward, toes down. Does this make sense? So you can do this drill and play around with this however you want, and just finding that super baby tick-tock between the block and the toes can help build that strength and help you find wherever that hover point is for you. You can play around with that one more time or do one more proper crow pose right now. So however you want to be situated, take your breath in and out to reset. One last crow pose if your wrists are up for it. If your wrists are not up for it and you still want to build strength, you can always do your forearms on the ground. Try to hug your knees into your upper arm bones and then pull your heart forward and just press, press, press through your forearms. That'll build a lot of strength in all the core and leg muscles that you need. Going for that one more crow. So our fingers spread wide, hands shoulder width apart, heart forward, squeeze the knees into the upper arm bones, walk up onto your toes, maybe pick up one toe, see how it feels, pick up the other, breathe, 2 breaths. Notice what's going on in your fingertips. Squeeze the inner thighs together, slow motion, come on down. Amazing, good. Let's do a full vinyasa to stretch out. So forward fold yourself. Breathe in, find the half lift. Fold right back down. Inhale, stand all the way back up. Stretch, stretch, stretch. Reach arms high. Interlace your hands. Exhale, stretch over to the right. Inhale back to center. Exhale, stretch to the left. Inhale through center. Exhale, forward fold. Allow through the back of the neck. Breathe in, halfway lift. Keep that length. Plant your palms. High push-up. On your exhale, lower down, low push-up. Upward facing dog. Downward facing dog. And slow motion, lower your knees to the ground. Super, super slow. Good. Keep your toes tucked. Get a stretch through the back of the toes. Walk your hands up a bit. We're just going to do some very gentle wrist stretches. So if it gets to be too much on your toes, just come off. And knuckles face down, fingertips in towards the center. Bring your hand a little bit wider than shoulder width. And then start to shift your weight away from that arm to stretch through the back of the wrist. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. See if you can relax the jaw. You can walk your knees forward if you need a deeper stretch in the feet. Okay. And then back of the hand down, fingers in towards the center. Hand a little bit outward towards the edge of your mat. And then an exhale is going to lean away from that wrist. So you're not doing anything too intense, too aggressive, just getting that opposite motion. Great. Good. Then however your wrists feel good to move around. Move around. High push up on your knees. On your exhale, lower down. Press down through the tops of your feet, just a couple little baby back bends. Tuck your chin. hands around near where the bra strap would be. If it's too much on your wrist, just pop yourself up to fingertips. See how I'm kind of clawing the mat? Wherever it feels most comfortable. Just going to inhale, use the back muscles to lift up just a tiny bit. Deep breath in. Deep breath out. Hands stay where they are, or stage 2. And bring your hands by your side, palms face down. See how that feels. Press your hands into the mat and maybe start to lift the legs. So now we're curling our heart up, lifting our legs up, and breathing. 2 more breaths. Take one more deep breath in. Exhale, come on down. One hand over the other. Rest your forehead on your palms. Rock your butt side to side. And take a break. 3 breaths to just feel how you feel. And maybe start to become really still. Finish the breath out. Come on up. High push up on your knees. Downward dog if you like. Walk your feet forward. Have a seat. Soles of your feet together. Knees fanned out wide. So our butt bones are down, knees wide. Grab onto your ankles and lift up through the heart. Draw the shoulders back. Take 2 breaths in here. Maybe starting to shift the chest forward. One more really deep breath in. Deep breath out. Come on up. Knees together. Left foot plants. Bring the right foot up. Cross it over. Figure 4. Remember, we're rotating that thigh open, keeping that foot flexed. Walking the other foot in, and then hands behind us as we inhale and lift the heart up. The straighter we have that spine, the deeper that stretch. So it may feel good to stay still, and it may feel good to shift side to side. See what works better for you today. And breathe. Two more breaths. If you are shifting, remember it's not just a mindless like doot doot doot, but really slowly to notice where the stretch is, how the stretch shifts, and where can you feel some tense spots. Maybe pause to take a breath in and out to release in that area. And walking the left foot out. Switch. Bring that leg up. Flex the foot. Walk the right foot in where it needs to go. Check the posture is lifted. Slow motion. Shift side to side or stay centered. Well, this feels really good for me if I start doing a twist. Feels really good for me if I start doing a twist. You can move however feels best for your own body. Every day is a little bit different in what feels best for me. And I imagine I'm not alone in that. So if you repeat this class, then maybe the next time you can try staying still or adding whatever feels good. Finish the breath. Walk your right leg out, unhook. Good. Now, roll onto your back, knees to your chest. Happy baby. So our knees are going to come really wide. We're going to use the weight of our arm bones at first. Oh, look, we're in crow pose again. Very similar. And the weight of your arm bones to press out this time. So this is our baby, happy baby. You can stay here or grab onto your shins or your feet. And as much as you pull down, you're going to press right back up. So it's not super intense active, but we just have a little bit of counter, maybe like 5-10% drawing down, 5-10% pressing back up, so that we have that engagement and that strength in the legs. But we can also, for the other 85-90%, find a way to relax into it. Can we soften the jaw? Can we let our butt come down onto the mat? Can we feel our whole spine imprint on the mat behind us? Can we use the exhales to let go of any tension we're finding in the legs? And this is another one where you can stay centered, or if it feels good to rock side to side, rock side to side. Stay here, or interlace your two first fingers around your big toes, feet together, and stretch straight up. And then maybe open. The other one was a baby, happy baby. This is a teenager, happy baby. If it's too much, don't do it. When you're ready, knees to chest, feet on the ground. Take a little rock side to side. Get that low back flush. Windshield wiper your legs. Breathe. Full breath out. In. Full breath out. Feet to the corners of your mat. Palms face up. Breathe. Relax through the jaw. Soften around the shoulders, the hips, the core and the low back, and just be present. Three more breaths. Stay longer if you like. Otherwise, take a full body stretch. Whatever feels good. Rolling onto one side. Pressing up to a seat. And then a couple deep breaths here together. Hands on your thighs or knees, or even hands to heart. We have that moment for each other. Actually, moment for ourselves first. I did mine automatic. That was my quiet moment. It becomes ingrained. So take a moment, if you haven't already, for yourself to notice, honor, and appreciate the strength that you're building, fears that you're conquering. If this was your first crow pose, let me know how it went. Let me know what part you're still struggling with if you didn't take off. Let me know. let me know. That way we can do another video too to help wherever you are at. Being proud of wherever you are, regardless of the way that your body can operate. And then we have a moment for each other as well to notice, honor, and appreciate. So thank you so much for being here and practicing with me. If you are seeing this the day it's posted, it is the first day of spring. Happy spring. Unless you're seeing this in like very many months from now, then I don't know what season it is. It doesn't really matter for when you practice it. However, it is very exciting. It's the first day of spring, which is all about growth. And I like to think of it kind of the way that we cultivate, gardens. We plant, we cultivate, we harvest. So right now in spring, we're in that planting phase. Maybe things are starting to sprout, some new ideas, new arm balances. And next week, to finish our week of strength, and as we more embrace spring and kind of the femininity of it, I think of spring to me is more feminine in nature. Just when you have your yin and yang, everything is made of both masculine and feminine. And so if we have that feminine energy with us, that's where we get more into the grace and the flowiness of it. And even though this is the beginner series where we are still working more on our alignment, just basic setup before we like whoop, whoop, zip through flows, next week will be a soft, sweet flow for spring, and we'll incorporate our crow pose that we just learned and everything else we've learned in the last 12 weeks. I'm really excited to share that with you. And if you want to send this to a friend and practice crow pose together, let me know. You can even take a picture and send it my way or tag me. I'd love to see how your crow pose turns out. Even if your toes are on the ground, mine were for longer than I can remember. So just let me know wherever you are and I will celebrate that with you. So have a great rest of your day and week. Happy spring.